Hello everyone and welcome back to Shipwrecked episode 9. A few housekeeping items to get out of the way before we get into the chunk roll. First, I was checking out some of my analytics from the last video and I noticed that a lot of you guys skip over me rambling about what the different chunks mean, so I'm going to try and skip that unless it's really necessary to go over the ramifications of rolling a specific chunk. I know it can get kind of boring. I actually skip it a lot too in a lot of the different series that I follow. The support from you all in the first 8 episodes has been amazing. I want to take a second to thank you all again. With that in mind, the channel is currently sitting at 344 subscribers. I'd like to go ahead and set my first goal of hitting 500 subscribers. So if you've been following along, or if you're just showing up for the first time, please help me out, help the number go up. Click the like and subscribe button. And lastly, if you are one of those unfortunate souls who is just discovering the Shipwreck series for the first time, firstly, where have you been hiding under a rock? And second of all, I'll put a card in the upper right hand corner for you so you can go back and catch up on the previous episodes. So, come on Falador or Musa, mostly Falador. No Southern Falador farm. And let's just double check to make sure that none of these other ones are available. Yeah, nope, we are good. Let's see what this roll has in store for us. Musa Point. Alright, we are gonna have to use the boat to get on down to Musa Point, and mostly we will be spending our time here catching fish on the dock. I know you could start with lobsters there, which I feel like is level 40 if I remember correctly, so we're going to have to get about 15 to 20 levels before we can even bother going over there. And we have to kill a snake, and we'll double check that this general store or this bar doesn't have anything new for us, but I don't believe it's anything exciting. So, yeah, we'll take it. It's not Southern Falador Farm, so it's a win in my book, and it will also allow us to add, what is this chunk called? Karamja Volcano to our next chunk roll, which, just looking at that list real quickly, I saw some interesting things. So let's get into the game and see what we have. Gonna go ahead and take the boat over to Karamja for the first time. It costs 30 coins, but we have a decent cash deck at this point, so we can do that plenty of times before we start to run out of money. There are 3 tasks that this chunk provides us with. The first one is super easy, and it's one of the first things I do when stepping onto the island. It is to kill a snake. They're all over the jungle, so I think I just one-shot one and it's over. The second task is to do up to step 3 of Pirate's Treasure. Also pretty simple. Gotta smuggle some rum off of the island in the banana crate. Pretty straightforward. I'm sure most of you have done this quest before. And the last one is the biggest one, but it is also the most AFK grind I've had to do yet on this account, and it is to get level 50 fishing so that we can catch a raw swordfish. I already have the cooking level required to cook the swordfish, otherwise that would be another task, which I'll do anyway because why not? But no grind as far as the cooking level is concerned. So, checked those 2 things off the list in the background fairly quickly and decided to get started on the fishing grind right away, and here is the first level. Level 23 fishing. We are flying through this list and it feels good. This is me for the next while. We are a fisherman. Going to get ourselves up to level 40 where we can catch lobsters using a pot, and then we'll head over to Karamja and use that spot. This one is just a little bit more convenient for now because it's right next to the fishing store, and I have no interest in keeping any of the fish that I catch on the way to 40, so I'll just be selling them all to get a little bit of cash on the way, and then if I run out of bait, we can just buy it. Now that you know the plan, there really isn't much else to do. If you've seen one fishing grind, you've seen them all. So much like I said back in episode 2, there's only one way to see this through. And there you go, folks. 50 fishing to catch a raw swordfish completed. Pretty sweet because swordfish are, if not the best, one of the best free-to-play foods available. So from here on out, whatever grinds I get myself into where I need food, I will have access to a pretty good one. And the clip you're seeing now is just a little bit back in time. I skipped over it in the montage because it didn't make sense, but I didn't want to leave it out of the video. Got myself a clue scroll here, and it actually happens to be the one step that we can complete. So, obviously, I thought I'd go check it out. So here we are with Brian at the famous Port Sarim Battle Axe Shop. Getting this clue scroll from fishing was insanely lucky already, just to get a beginner clue scroll at all. And then also for it to actually be the one step that we can actually complete. The odds of this are insane. I didn't even think I'd be having a chance at another casket, but here we are. We get to roll the dice with Brian here one more time. 10% chance of a casket. Can we get lucky this time? Man, this would be so epic. Do it to me, Brian. Oh my lord! I'm gonna be honest, I had absolutely zero faith that this was gonna be a casket, but holy shit, we did it. Alright, now we gotta open the thing. And there are some goodies in here that could really help the account, and there is also some complete and utter junk. So, hold your breath for me, folks. We're gonna hit this button and see what the reward from the very first beginner casket on the account is, with the insane RNG to even get to this point. Can we spike another one? Help me out, 93 Jadengu. Okay. Technically, it's not the worst. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, you know, it would have been... It's already crazy to even get to this point and complete one. We got something that's alchable, and something we can sell, and runes are always helpful. So, you know, for being completely spoon-fed that casket, who am I to complain? Thanks, Jagex. Quick little update before we move on to the chunk picker. Just fill in the inventory with swordfish, trying to get a full inventory, and then we will go cook up as many as we can. We'll probably burn a good bit, but we have a high enough cooking level that we should get a few out of it. Just taking a look at the stats, we hit total level 729, getting really close to 750 from free-to-play, which is a pretty big milestone and opens up those new worlds. Time played is 11 days and 11 hours. So these last couple chunks haven't taken too long in comparison to the smithing grind that we had to do. And the collection log is sitting at 16 out of 100, nope, 1,047. 1,477, and we are really close to finishing the random events. Just need 5 more. Obviously the stale baguette is tough, might not get that one for a long time, but I think we'll get it eventually because we're putting some time in on this account. So yeah, that's where we are sitting at. Didn't change any combat stats, so oh, we also have 1 completed clue casket, beginner clue casket, so that's a huge achievement for the limitations of this account. And while I'm sure you're all completely satiated with that riveting fishing montage, it did feel like the episode would be a bit too short if I didn't put some more content in here, so we are going to move straight back to the chunk picker. As you can see, down in the bottom right, it was only 5 days ago that I rolled a chunk, so that's how long of in real life time it took me to get that 50 fishing. And the other stuff I did probably within the first 10 minutes. It really was just busting out the fishing levels. With that being said, let's hop over to the chunk rolling clip, go over the new chunk that is available, and then get right into the next roll. Here we are with all 3 out of 3 active tasks complete for the Musa Point chunk. It didn't have a whole lot in it. We knew it would not be too bad, but it did take a good bit of time to get those fishing levels, and that is actually a really big milestone to be able to catch those swordfish. That is a really great food source for us. So combat grinds coming up will be a lot easier. Obviously it's a little bit of a trek, you gotta do the whole boat thing, so it's not super ideal, I'd say, until we get a bank and then we can just get them from the bank. But as you'll see in a moment, it might actually be pretty relevant here soon. And the reason is, we'll start backwards this time so that we can go straight into that point, is this new chunk here that we can unlock, the Karamja volcano. There is not much to it, kind of like the Musa Point chunk on the surface, but it does actually have a dungeon as well. And inside of that dungeon, they're not listed here, which is weird. On the surface, there's just imps, monkeys, scorpions, and snakes. I don't think there would be... We need to take a quick break from the regularly scheduled chunk chat because I forgot to mention that with the unlock of the last chunk, Musa Point, I unlocked 2 music tracks, the first being Jungle Island and the second being Sea Shanty, which in my opinion is superior to Sea Shanty 2. Not just a hot take, I really do feel that way, and gonna put that track on right now in the background. Literally anything to do on the surface, but inside this dungeon there is deadly red spiders. Boom. They're easy, super easy drop table. There is lesser demons, and those ones are pretty interesting. And then there's also skeletons. The reason that lesser demons are interesting is because they hold some gear upgrades for us. You can see from this we would need to grab a rune med helm, so our first piece of rune gear, a steel full helm, which if we get that first is actually still a gear upgrade for us. Steel scimitar, which I'm not sure, that might be more of a lateral move from the mace, but I'll have to look into that. So yeah, I guess it's just the Rune Med Helm that's the gear upgrade for us. But yeah, I think this would be just fun to have, and to get the last of the Karamja chunks for now would be cool. That being said, everything is green logged. I would like to keep playing and I don't have anything else left to do, so we're gonna roll a chunk. Let's hope for 2 or 3, not 1. Let's see what we get. Oh no! No, 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 no. Oh no. Don't take me there. Oh boy. So this chunk is super easy, as you're gonna see. Have to start Corsair's Curse, kill a chicken, a duck, and a highwayman with no hood. This is gonna take me literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we are going to be right back at the chunk picker. We will have some new chunks to add to the list though, unfortunately, including this one. Do that now. Oh, look, you know what, actually? We can unlock this chunk as well. Because we can, it looks like we can skirt around this fence. And then we could just walk down and into it, so we wouldn't have to go in it diagonally. I'm glad I noticed that. I almost missed that. Gotta get them in order, because, you know. So 5 potential chunks. We'll go over what these 2 chunks would offer after we've busted out this stuff. And yeah, we'll be back shortly. Here we are at the border of our new chunk, the Falador farm. Honestly, we are kind of looking like a Chad these days. Black kite shield, adamant mace, mithril, adamant chain body, and mithril mace. Still could use some gear upgrades on the legs and the arms, but we also got ourselves the amulet of strength. And look at the inventory. We are full of swordfish. This is almost free to play peak efficiency right here. Not like this guy. We're not that cool yet, but you know, we're on the way there. So let's get this chunk unlocked and do the few silly things we have to do. We do have to start the quest Corsair Curse, which we do by talking to this guy. I'll spare you the dialogue here, but it is worth noting that starting this quest actually gives us the ability to use the boat on the other side of our chunk, outside of Remington, which takes you down to Corsair Cove. So this will unlock another option for us to open a new chunk with our next roll. Interesting little development. That's actually more action than I thought this chunk would provide. That should actually give us the ability to roll a new chunk very soon. There's the chicken. They have a 1 and 4 drop rate on the feathers. We got them on try number 1. Boom. 2 birds with 1 kill. And now we need to find a duck. Where are the ducks at? I guess over here by this pond. It seems like a place where a duck would be. There you are. Am I gonna have to range that? And how do I even get over there? Figure out a way for me, guy. Oh, here we can go over. I am in bozo mode. Honestly, still just a little bit shocked and sad that we're even in this chunk at all. This is not where I wanted to be. Oh, this way, sheesh. Like a maze around here. But we're gonna persevere. Oh, pigs that you can't actually kill. Oh, dog. That's the dog. Oh, good doggy. And let's get ourselves a duck, Casey. Don't run away, duck. You're gonna make me bow this, aren't you? Damn it. I don't have any runes. Or a bow. Look, this one's right there. Just whack him. Oh, fine. Sheesh, gonna make me go all the way down and buy a bow. we'll see if we can do it from here. We got lots of things to find out. Boom! Now I'm gonna get the wrong duck. Oh, we got it. Oh, don't you dare. Oh, come on. Get out of the way, other duck. Woo! 5 exactly. That was close. That would have been kind of embarrassing. But it's dead. We can put all our stuff back on. And with that task complete, we bring to a close another chunk. While this chunk was as boring as advertised, it did open the door for 4 new chunks, which means in our next roll, there's 4 new options that we could hit for the very first time. Which means you're going to want to like and subscribe because you're going to want to get a notification when the next video drops. Anything could happen. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.